There's a quote that says, "Don't let someone who gave up on their dreams talk you out of yours. Don't let your inner critic be the one who does that." So who runs your life? Is it your inner critic or your inner coach? I'm Sanj and welcome to Master Your Mindset, Master Your Life. This is a podcast that helps you navigate life's challenges by helping you to master your mindset so you can master your life and live a life you truly desire. If you get something from this episode, please share it with someone who you think would benefit from hearing this. Also, I'd really appreciate it if you could leave me a rating or a review. So the quote I said about don't let someone who gave up on their dreams talk you out of yours. Don't let your inner critic be the one who does that. It highlights the importance of guarding your dreams against negative influences. It tells you that you need to guard your dreams against both external and internal negative influences. It warns you about listening to those who may have abandoned their own aspirations and are just now projecting their fears, their failures onto you. But it also makes you cautious against letting your inner critic, the voice of self-doubt, that little irritating noise in the back of your mind, that fear within, deter you from pursuing your goals. This quote encourages resilience and self-belief. It reminds you to stay focused and confident in your dreams, regardless of your discouragement from others or even worse, your own self-sabotage. So we all have two little people in our mind. We have our inner critic or our inner coach. And you always hear either one or the other talking. And the differences are, your inner critic is that little voice in your head that doubts you, that criticizes you, and that undermines your confidence. That's the voice that tells you that you're not good enough. It's a voice that leads to self-doubt. It's the voice that leads to fear. It's a voice that leads to stagnation, gives you paralysis by analysis, by telling you that actually you're not good enough. You're not going to be able to do it. Remember that time you failed? You're going to do it. Because you failed last time, you're going to fail this time. This inner voice, this is the one that holds you back in life. This is the one that stops you from moving forward. This is the one which stops you living your dreams. But this voice can come internally, but this voice is also fueled by the people around you. If you have people around you who talk negatively, the ones who actually say things like, "Oh, you know what, this is going to be really difficult. Are you sure you can manage it?" The people who question you, the people who are actually always there projecting their fears onto you. These are the people who are going to be holding you back as well externally. But they're giving you food for your inner critic to feast on. So what you need to start doing is you need to start thinking, when your inner critic talks, are you going to listen? So you have that inner critic on one shoulder, but on the other side, you've got your inner coach. Your inner coach is amazing. Your inner coach is pushing you. Your inner coach is supportive. It's encouraging. It's a voice that believes in your potential. It's that voice that motivates you to take action. It's that voice that's telling you constantly, you can do it. You are good enough. It's the voice that actually fosters your self-belief. It's a voice that gives you motivation, the one that tells you that you can get back up and keep going. It's that voice that actually makes you excited in the morning when you're taking on that challenge, when you're actually pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. Your inner coach is the one cheering you on louder than anything else. When you start to build that positive inner dialogue, you are more likely to achieve your goals because you believe in yourself. So you need to think to yourself, which one are you listening to more of right now? Are you listening to that inner critic who's telling you you're not good enough? The one that's undermining your confidence? Or are you listening to the one that's pushing you, saying, you know what, you're the man. You can do this. You've got this covered. When you understand that these two voices help you recognize the pattern in your thinking, and they actually influence your actions, and your actions actually influence your outcomes. So you need to think, if your outcomes are not what you want them to be, which of these voices are you listening to? Are you listening to that critic telling you you're not good enough, so you're actually only half-heartedly trying? Or are you going to start listening to that coach telling you, you got this, you can do it, and you're going to start acting accordingly, getting the outcomes that you want? The problem is most of us actually struggle and we allow our inner critic to take control. We let the inner critic in our mind control our life. It takes the wheel, it takes a pen, it starts to write the story of your life for you. And there's several reasons why you do it. The first is an evolutionary basis, because your brains are wired to focus on the negative as a survival mechanism. So your inner critic in that way is your best friend. The negativity bias given to you by that inner critic helps you avoid danger. It helped your ancestors thousands and thousands of years ago avoid danger, but no, you don't need it anymore. You don't need that inner critic as much anymore. But you still have it there. You cannot get rid of it. So you need to stop letting it take the wheel. When you have negative experiences, they actually have a greater impact on your brain than positive ones. You will remember negative experiences, but positive ones, those are the ones that you're going to struggle remembering. The next thing, as I said, is your social conditioning. When you're subject to criticism from others, that gives your inner critic food for thought. It feeds it. It gives it more ammo. Your inner critic will take that and bring it up at a time before you may not even realize that it had been taken on board. But your subconscious mind will have kept that, and your inner critic will use it. The fear of failure, as I always say, your inner critic is a stem from that fear of failure, and it leads you to avoid taking risks. It sees it as a negative thing, as something that you can avoid, something that will threaten your survival. So your inner critic is actually is a stem from a fear of failure. And finally, your inner critic loves perfectionism, and it wants everything to be perfect. And you wanting everything to be perfect can actually amplify the voice of that inner critic, making you overthink what you're doing, making you actually doubt yourself, making you confused as to whether you're doing the right thing. When you recognize why you let your inner critic dominate, when you actually start to notice when your inner critic is talking, that's the first step towards taking control and shifting your mindset. And then when you actually stop and when you actually become more aware of your inner critic taking control, that's when things can change. That's when you can start doing things differently. That is when you can start to allow your inner coach to take over. Now, your inner coach, he's the guy you want on your shoulder. He's the one who you want to help guide you. When you've got that inner coach guiding you instead, you're going to be more productive. When you listen to your inner coach, you're going to be more action orientated. You're going to be more productive. You're going to have that self-belief. And with that self-belief, you're going to improve your resilience, because setbacks are not viewed as something to be scared of. They're actually viewed as learning opportunities. They're not viewed as failures. They're viewed as ways you can move yourself forward, just not in that direction. And then again, when you start actually picking yourself up off these little stumbles, your motivation will be bigger. It will be more intense. Your inner coach encourages you to set your goals, to achieve your goals, to take the right steps to get to where you want to get to. And then all this positivity that you are surrounding yourself with, all this positivity that you're noticing, when you're noticing that you're more productive, that you've got better motivation, that you're less likely to doubt yourself, it improves your mental health. Because why wouldn't you feel better mentally if you're reducing stress and reducing anxiety, because you're doing all these other positive things, because this inner coach is whispering good things in your ear, telling you that you're the person that you need to be, that you're doing the things you need to be doing, that you're on the right path. when you let your inner coach take the lead, it can transform your mindset. And that is the story you want to write for yourself. It can help you, that inner coach, it can help you to achieve your goals. And it can also help you live a more fulfilling life. And so if you want to start listening to your inner coach more, start doing 4 simple things. First thing, surround yourself with positivity. Your inner coach feeds off the positivity. So engage with positive people, a positive environment, things that will reinforce your inner coach. Think of the things, the people around you. Are they positive? Do they have a good outlook on life? Or are they always negative, thinking about the negative things going on? Get yourself a supportive community, a coach, a mentor, just someone to help you. Because when you start to actually improve and have more positive social interactions, it can boost your mood, your motivation, and your mindset. The next thing is when you're actually got your inner coach there, celebrate the small wins with it. Acknowledge your wins, celebrate them. It doesn't matter how small, it doesn't matter if they're big. Do something like keep a list of your wins so you can review them when you need reminding. When you start reviewing and celebrating those wins, it will increase your motivation and give you a more positive mindset. Next thing is become self-aware. If you want to quiet your inner critic, become self-aware. Recognize when your inner critic is speaking and then consciously shift to your inner coach. To do this, I'd recommend by journaling or noting down when you're hearing your inner critic. See what position you're in, what is the situation, what environment you're in, and then think about actually, if I'm always feeling like my inner critic is around at this point, how can you limit the time you're with in that situation? Your self-awareness can actually change a lot of your life. So when you notice and when you become aware of your inner critic, replace it with your inner coach. And finally, if you want to actually quieten your inner critic, give it a name. Give it a name, give it a personality. Try and visualize it as a person. And then whenever you hear it talking, just say, that's my inner critic talking. You detach from it. You detach in a way so that you can actually turn the volume down on what you hear it saying. And slowly over time, it will get quieter and quieter until before you know it, you've actually got it under control. You're no longer listening to that inner critic because the battle between your inner critic and your inner coach is ongoing. But when you become aware of the voices and you actively choose to listen to your inner coach rather than your inner critic, you can transform your mindset and your life. Remember, your inner coach is there to support you, to motivate you, to guide you towards achieving your dreams. So where have you been listening to your inner critic more than your inner coach? And where do you need to start changing that? Remember, when you start taking consistent action and nurturing a positive inner dialogue, this is a key to having a more positive mindset, to start living your life having a life written by your inner coach rather than your inner critic. You will start to improve your mindset, become more positive. And remember, when your mindset shapes your reality, when you master it, you'll master your life. Remember, or as always, my mission is to make a positive impact on the world. And so I sincerely hope you can help me do that by liking, by subscribing, and by sharing this podcast with others. So until next time, keep seeking, keep growing, and keep mastering your mindset to master your life. Thank you.